Do you ever notice what you think when you're in flow? Yeah, most of my clients don't either, but they sure know what they think when they're stuck. Like, oh, I can't do this. Why does this always happen to me? I don't have enough time for this. I'm not good at this. All kinds of nonsense that runs around in our mind, right? When I'm talking about flow, I mean any time that it feels effortless, it feels easy. You're not concerned about time. You're not doubting whether or not it's good enough or if you are doing it right or wrong. You're just doing it. For me, I always go back to my creative flow, but flow can be for anything. It's that state when we're in this really nice harmony between our mind and our spirit and our body, and everything kind of comes together. If you want to have more of that, you got to figure out, what do you do when you're in it? And so I like to think about not only what I feel or what body movements I have, I also like to think about, what am I thinking? Because then I can think some of that on purpose with intent and reverse engineer it and get myself into flow. So the next time that you're feeling everything is going so easy, I want you to think about, what am I thinking? I want you to notice, what am I thinking right now? Are you thinking this is so easy? Or most of the time in flow, we're not always conscious of what we're thinking. Everything is just kind of happening in it. So now you've got to make that intention to start noticing what you think. But if you do that, you will notice your thoughts. So like some of the things that when I'm in flow that I start thinking about is, I don't think about time. Time doesn't exist. I think about next step. Like, oh, well, I'm just going to do this. I'm not thinking 10 steps ahead. I'm just thinking about next step. Oh, I just do this. Oh, here's the next thing I'm going to do. This is the next thing I'm going to do. Oh, I only need to do this part. Those are some of the things that come to me just very naturally. And now when I work on any other task, project, creative or not, and I want to try to induce as much ease into the process as I can, especially when it's something new, I just tell myself, you know what? I just need to know the next step. Oh, I just do this and then the next step will happen. I'll just do this and the next step will happen. And that's something that I think about because I know in flow, that's the way it is. I don't have to think down the road because I just trust that when I do this step, the next one comes along. This step, the next one comes along. Whether that's because I'm thinking about it or maybe I get to that crossroads and the right direction to go just lights up and for whatever reason, somehow I pick one. Maybe it's not even that it's the right crossroad. It's just I don't have a problem making a decision. So if it's go A or go B, I just pick one and not get worried about, but if I go A, then I'll miss out on this on B. And if I go B, well, but then A has this. I'm not even debating myself. It's just straight line. There I go. It's easy. Just trusting myself that no matter where I go, I'm going to end up where I end up, and then I'll figure it out from there. So those are the kinds of things that I think about when I am in my flow state. You should do the same thing for yourself. And when you start to figure out, what are you thinking about? And sometimes you can even reflect on a situation. So if you were making something, it doesn't matter, spreadsheet, or maybe it was organizing the family calendar, and you're like, well, that just felt so easy. Reflect back on it. Think back, like, what was I thinking when I did that? Why did it feel easy? Start asking yourself those questions. And then you're going to get a list of like what your thoughts are. Like for me is do the next step. Everything else comes. Just step. That's all I got to do. Just step and everything else will happen. It'll all come into play. So that's what I end up doing. You do you, I'll do me. And let's all have a lot more flow in our lives in the process by reverse engineering, figuring out what you think, and think it with intention before you start.